As of February 15th, this is going to be a walkthrough on how to set up a GTO Tier 2 group operator. So we're going to go ahead and invite a new tour operator. We're going to put in TS GTO. Let's go ahead and do test GTO Tier 2. And we can go ahead and put in any company email. So again, I'm going to go ahead and do mark plus, let's call it 300@ticketsocket.com. And I'm going to go ahead and hit send. This can be any email that you're inviting them to as an admin. So once I hit send, that will go ahead and send that email invitation to the particular user. If you'd like, you can see that it shows pending right here. You can refresh, and if you refresh, you'll notice that it will show a little actions menu right here. If you click this, this will take you to manually set up the manual GTO activation. And so both this as well as the email that gets sent out are going to both essentially take you to the same place. The manual activation will allow a super admin or an admin to go ahead and manually help set up that GTO should you need to. So we're going to go ahead and click on this manual. We're going to do this one manually here. So we're just going to click on this manual GTO activation. That's going to launch and take us through an activation wizard to help that GTO get set up. So it's going to go ahead and give us our welcome message here. Welcome me to this. I'm going to click continue. I'm going to put in John Smith. And I'm going to put in just a random phone number here. Go ahead and put in a password. And then we'll go ahead and drop in the rest of this information. And in here, we're going to put in that same, could be a different email address, but we're just going to go ahead and put the same one. And this is the same process that a regular GTO would be activating if they had clicked on that link themselves. Now I've got my billing information, so as it mentions, this will be used for the billing address for all transactions because they will at some point be required to put in a credit card to convert and bill any orders. So in this case, again, I'm just going to go ahead and use that same email address. There's nothing against using it for each one of these. For some GTOs, it may be the same email address across the board. Sometimes they might have a billing at Northwest Tours or whoever this may be. So I'm just going to put in some company information here. So the billing address, put in California here, and we'll go ahead and create the profile here. And so now at this point it says you can always skip this step to add a payment method later. You won't be charged by submitting this, but the last step here, we need a payment method for your account. So I can either skip this or I can put one in. Now it will not allow me to put in a live credit card right now. We do have the site in test mode, meaning that it's not actually saving or storing any credit cards just for testing purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and skip this. Skip this credit card portion right now so that I can get in to the actual account. And so now at this point, you'll notice that I have just set that GTO up. So now they are set up. John Smith can log into his portal. He does not have access to any tours or events at this particular point. So the next step we would do would be to give that GTO Tier 2, this test GTO Tier 2, access to whatever we'd like. So if I go ahead and refresh now back in the admin under GTOs, left-hand menu here, we're now going to see that test GTO Tier 2 has been activated. And so if we look right here, there we are. We see that it's been accepted. Mark plus 300. There's the test GTO Tier 2. Now what I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on it. And I can go ahead and click on that test GTO Tier 2. And we have three different things we can do with that GTO. We can look at this kind of their basic information. We can look at their reservations. Clearly, I don't have any reservations for this current week. It will default to the current week. but I do not have any reservations currently. So we're going to go ahead and give that GTO access, Test GTO Tier 2. We're going to give them access to the Future of Flight Aviation Center and Boeing Tour. So we're going to select that from the menu, click Set Up Access, and now we've got that in here, so now we're just going to edit that. And now at this point we have the ability to do a few things. We can go ahead and give them ticket access to whichever things we want them to have access to, and we can also set their release dates as well, depending on which ones we would like. So for example, if I go ahead and set the ticket access, you'll notice here I'm going to go ahead and select whichever month that I want for my recurrence pattern. So if I was to select March, for example, I can give it to them on a month-by-month basis, and then I'm just going to select all time slots. Since this is a GTO Tier 2, I'm going to go ahead and select all time slots here because we want to give them access to everything. If we only wanted to give them access to a particular few that they could make reservations for, then we can do that. Now this does not affect purchasing. This is only going to be for which tickets they're able to reserve. So I'm going to go ahead and just click all, and I will add the selections, and we'll notice right inside of here you can see that it's adding all of the different time slots. So I'm going to go ahead and activate for each of these the GTO Tier 2 ticket tier. I'm going to do it again for this time slot, and I'm just going to go through each of these and go ahead and turn them on. And the reason why we want to activate the Tier 2 ticket tier, the GTO T2 that you see right there, is because this is a Tier 2 GTO. If this was a Tier 1, we would go ahead and activate the Tier 1. Okay, so we've got those all set now, so we can go ahead and save those. If we wanted to set the quota and only allow them to reserve less than 52, we could simply just limit this and set this to some other number or amount. But we're not going to worry about that since this is a Tier 2. We're okay with them being able to reserve the entire quota for that time slot. So we're going to go ahead and click Save, and that's going to go ahead and save all of our access levels here that we've given to this GTO Tier 2. Okay. So now if we want, we're going to go ahead and click Review Access Settings here. We've given them access to all of these different toured and time slots that are in the month of March. And so now we want to set the release date for this GTO Tier 2. So we're going to go ahead and we're currently using the default release dates, it says. Select an option below and hit Save to override the default release date. So we're going to go ahead and click right here, Test GTO Tier 2 will automatically release their tickets. Currently it's reading out what we have it set to, 0 days before. An event starts at 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and select how many days we want. So since this is a Tier 2, we've got 14 days, and we're going to go ahead and set 14 days before the tour date, and then we're going to go ahead and put in 11:59. And so we can go ahead and type it, or we can use the little selectors there. So now it says Test GTO Tier 2 will automatically release their tickets 14 days before an event starts. So what that means is that if I go in and log in as this GTO, Test GTO Tier 2, and I make a reservation, I'm not going to be able to make a reservation that will stay anyway 14 days before. So for example, I wouldn't really be able to make reservations for tomorrow, but I could make reservations, let's say, a month in advance. And then 14 days before the date of that tour, my reservations my reserved tickets would automatically be released back to inventory. So that's what this does here. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And once I save that, now those settings have been saved, and my auto release for this particular GTO Tier 2 has been completely configured. Because the ticket tier, GTO T2 ticket tier, is set up as a separate ticket type than adult, that is going to allow flexibility for that price to be changed at different times of the year. So therefore, that ticket, currently right now it's set to $22.50. However, that could be changed, and that way it would only affect the GTO Tier 2s that have access to that particular ticket tier. And that's just about going to wrap up how to set up a GTO Tier 2 across the board. In a different video, we will cover how what logging in as this ticket test GTO Tier 2 looks like, and what it looks like for them inside of their portal to make reservations and all that. But this should conclude setting up a GTO Tier 2. Please see the video for setting up a GTO Tier 1, which is almost the same process, except for that we are selecting a couple different things and setting the auto release settings to different times.